vessel towards diamond. Blood vessels చెప్తున్నాను. Okay. Blood vessels. Okay. So blood vessels of the thoracic cavity. Blood vessels of the thoracic cavity. Blood vessels of the thoracic cavity. So thoracic cavity. Either side there is a presence of ribs and their intercostal spaces. In each intercostal space there is a presence of one blood vessel, means one artery and one vein. So that artery we called as posteriorly, that artery we called as posterior intercostal artery. Anteriorly, anterior intercostal artery. So posterior intercostal artery covers the posterior two-third part, and anterior intercostal artery covers the anterior one-third part. Are you getting? Anterior one-third part is covered by the anterior intercostal artery, and posterior two-third part is covered by the posterior intercostal artery. So posterior intercostal artery, it is a branch of descending thoracic aorta. So it is a branch of descending thoracic aorta. See here, the heart, arch of aorta, and this one is a descending thoracic aorta. This one is a diaphragm. Are you getting? See here the rib. The space we call as intercostal space. So this one is the arch of aorta. This one is the descending thoracic aorta. This descending thoracic aorta gives the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 blood vessels. Each artery enters into the one space. So there is a presence of 11 spaces. In between the first rib and second rib, there is a one first space. So that space we call as intercostal space. So which means right side, left side. See here is the right side, this one. Right side we get the same 11 arteries. Then left side we get the 11 arteries. So these arteries we call as posterior intercostal arteries. Posterior intercostal artery is a branch of descending thoracic aorta. Whenever we take the section of the thoracic cavity, here this one is a sternum, as a vertebrae, as a vertebral canal. Okay. So here which one is the right side? Suppose it is now body and body. Okay. So this one is the left side. This is the right. So left side, see here. Left side there is a presence of descending thoracic aorta. Left side means see here, left side descending thoracic aorta. So this descending thoracic aorta runs downwards in the left side, not right side. ऐसा नहीं जाए, ऐसा जाए. समझ में आया? Like this arch. So it runs downwards. It doesn't runs like this. Absolutely wrong. Okay? So it travels towards the left side only. So that's why it is the left and this one is the right. Okay? So thoracic aorta gives a branch, that is a posterior intercostal artery. Here it gives a one branch like this. The branch also posterior intercostal artery. So posterior intercostal artery supplies the posterior 2/3 part of the thoracic cage, and 1/3 part of the thoracic cage, anterior 1/3 part of the thoracic cage is supplied by the anterior intercostal artery. See here is the anterior intercostal artery. This also anterior intercostal artery. Anterior intercostal artery. So anterior intercostal artery. See here, arch of aorta, brachiocephalic trunk. Next, common carotid, left common carotid, and the left subclavian. Are you getting? It gives the three branches. So brachiocephalic trunk is one, left common carotid, left subclavian. Left subclavian travels towards the left upper limb. So right one travels towards the right upper limb. So this subclavian gives the one branch anterior side, one branch front side, either sides to the sternum, either sides to the sternum. This one. So this one we called as internal thoracic artery. Internal thoracic artery. So internal thoracic artery is the branch of subclavian. Subclavian is the branch of arch of aorta. So it is the internal thoracic artery. So internal thoracic artery gives the branches 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 like that. So gives the 11 branches. The 11 branches we called as anterior intercostal arteries. So anterior intercostal artery is a branch of internal thoracic artery. Internal thoracic artery is a branch of subclavian artery. Supplies the anterior 1/3 part of the thoracic cage. Okay. So each vessel, each artery enters into the each space. So supplies that space. Okay. Then the posterior aspect, descending thoracic aorta gives branches. The branches we call as posterior intercostal arteries. This posterior intercostal artery supplies the posterior 2/3 part of the thoracic cage. So there is the presence of 11 spaces. So each space there is the presence of one artery. That artery is nothing but posterior intercostal artery. Backside 2/3 part. And anterior 1/3 part, each space there is the presence of one artery. So that artery arises from the internal thoracic artery. Thoracic artery is a branch of subclavian artery. So this one is a blood supply of the thoracic cage. Are you getting? So in terms of matter. Okay? So write down. Anterior intercostal artery. Anterior intercostal artery. It is a branch of anterior intercostal artery. It is a branch of internal thoracic artery. Internal thoracic artery. So internal thoracic artery is a branch of subclavian artery. Subclavian artery. Okay. Next point. Anterior intercostal artery supplies the anterior 1/3 part of the thoracic cage. Anterior intercostal artery supplies the anterior 1/3 part of the thoracic cage. And finally it is anastomosis with the means mixed with the finally it is anastomosis with the posterior intercostal artery. Finally, it is anastomosis with the posterior intercostal artery. Okay. Next, posterior intercostal artery. Somebody. Anastomosis with the posterior intercostal artery. Subheading posterior intercostal artery. Posterior intercostal artery is a branch of descending thoracic aorta. It is a branch of descending thoracic aorta. So there is a presence of 11 pairs of 11 pairs. There is a presence of 11 pairs of posterior intercostal arteries. 11 pairs of there is a presence of 11 pairs of posterior intercostal arteries. Okay. Each intercostal artery, each pair of intercostal artery, each pair means two, right and left kalpite pair annadu. Each pair of intercostal artery supplies the posterior two-third part of the thoracic cage. Posterior two-third part of the thoracic cage. Are you getting? So ఇక్కడ రాయాల్సిన అంటే thoracic cage లో రాయాల్సిన ఆర్టరీ ఏంటి? Posterior intercostal artery and anterior intercostal artery. Okay. Next, intercostal nerve. What is intercostal nerve? Typical thoracic nerve. Alright. Typical thoracic nerve. Each intercostal space is supplied by the one nerve. Each intercostal space is supplied by the one nerve called as typical thoracic nerve. Typical thoracic nerve. Each space there is a one nerve. So how many spaces present here? 11. Which means there is the presence of 11 nerves. Okay. There is right now. There is the presence of 11 typical thoracic nerves. 11 typical thoracic nerves supplies the thoracic cage. Supplies the thoracic cage. Are you getting? So each space లో ఒక nerve ఉంది. ఆ nerve పేరు ఏంటి? Typical thoracic nerve. Okay. So ఇక్కడ ఒక nerve గురించి చెప్పుకుంటే అన్ని nerves అట్లే ఉంటాయి. Okay. So see here. Okay. The thoracic cage. Transverse section of the thoracic cage. Okay. So see here. What is this? Spinal cord. getting? Why it is present here? Lateral horn. What is this? Thoracolumbar outflow. So the section means present in the lateral horn. So without lateral horn, draw this one knowledge. Okay. So see here. Which one is the anterior? Anterior. This one is the posterior. So means dorsal root ganglion towards the posterior side. Then both are mixed with the mixed nerve. Okay, that's the ventral rami, dorsal rami, dorsal root ganglion, ventral root, dorsal mixed nerve. That's the this same ఇక్కడ. So dorsal rami, ventral rami. Are you getting? Ventral rami. So this dorsal rami here backside there is the presence of erector spinae muscle. So spine is straight kuncha muscle enti erector spinae. So it pierces the erector spinae, divides into two cutaneous. Divides into two cutaneous. Cutaneous means supplies the skin. So one is towards the medial side means posterior. This one is the posterior cutaneous nerve. So dorsal rami is nothing but here posterior cutaneous nerve. So ventral rami it travels up to front. It gives us two branches. One is lateral side, another one is front side, anterior side. So this one we call as lateral cutaneous nerve. Lateral side, lateral cutaneous, and front side, anterior cutaneous nerve. Okay. So each nerve divides into two. Posterior, anterior. Divides into two. Medial side. Lateral side. Here medial and this one lateral. Okay. Now see here. Anterior, medial cutaneous nerve. Anterior medial cutaneous. Next, anterior lateral cutaneous nerve supplies the anterior part. Okay. Next, lateral anterior cutaneous nerve. Lateral anterior cutaneous nerve and lateral posterior cutaneous nerve. Lateral posterior cutaneous nerve. Next, posterior lateral cutaneous nerve and posterior medial cutaneous nerve. Medial cutaneous nerve, posterior side. Supplies the complete thoracic cage. Are you getting? Which means each space there is the presence of one nerve. That is the dorsal rami and ventral rami. So this one we call as typical thoracic nerve. Same. This side also same. Same dorsal root ganglion, ventral root, unite to form a mixed nerve. Dorsal rami Ventral rami. So dorsal rami pierces the deep muscle, divides into two. That is the posterior cutaneous nerve. Towards the medial side is the medial, towards the lateral is the lateral. Okay? The ventral rami, lateral side gives the one cutaneous called as lateral cutaneous nerve. Anterior it gives the anterior cutaneous nerve. Lateral cutaneous nerve gives the two branches. One is anterior, another one is posterior. Anterior one gives the two branches. One is medial and lateral. Same. Anterior medial cutaneous nerve, anterior lateral cutaneous nerve, lateral anterior cutaneous nerve, lateral posterior cutaneous nerve, posterior lateral cutaneous nerve, posterior medial cutaneous nerve. So complete this can be called as typical thoracic nerve. So typical thoracic nerve is a 4 marks question. Okay? Huh? Muscles? Muscle ఏం లేదు ఒక స్పేస్ ఇట్లా అన్ని అంత సేమ్ కదా. Okay, are you getting this one? So artery, okay, intercostal artery. Intercostal. Number one is the typical thoracic nerve. Otherwise, next question, intercostal. Same. Intercostal nerve same. Otherwise, typical thoracic nerve same. Are you getting? So two questions for ask. Hala? Okay? Vein. Azega system is the format. So, don't say on the thing. Just only ventral rami, dorsal rami, dividing into cutaneous. So, akan after one day. Okay, na? So, direct question on the